Jasmine Torres, coming to you live from KTJ News. Tonight, President Trump is facing new backlash with the sudden decision to withdraw the U.S. troops out of key parts of Syria, leaving American Kurdish allies alone in the fight against ISIS and alone to defend against Turkey. The move comes after the president had a phone call with the president of Turkey. Tonight, the Senate Republicans are calling it a betrayal, and it comes weeks after our reporting here from the ground. The fight against ISIS right now and our access in Syria with thousands of ISIS fighters. If the U.S. pulls out, we'll make sure they are indeed the freedom of ISIS.
This is KTG News. Coming to you tonight is Jasmine Torres.
Good evening. It is great to have you here. To start off another week, we will begin tonight's discussion about President Donald Trump and the backlash this evening after his sudden decision to withdraw the U.S. troops from the key border areas of Syria, abandoning Kurd soldiers, our allies who fought side by side with the United States to defeat ISIS and now who holds thousands of ISIS prisoners. We were on the grounds on the front lines in Iraq near the Syrian border just weeks ago. The fight against ISIS is still boiling strong and still going on ragingly. We were given access to the prisons in Syria with the U.S. troops leaving. Even some Republicans are calling this a betrayal. To KTG News, our Chief Global Affairs, Tala, leading us off.
Tonight, the first images of American forces drawing from positions in northern Syria. This U.S. toast is now a ghost town after orders from President Trump to leave behind the Kurdish forces we have long relied on to battle ISIS, instead siding with the Turkey.
Why are you siding with an authoritarian leader and not our Kurdish allies?
Well, I'm not siding with anybody. We've been in Syria for many years. You know, Syria was supposed to be a short-term hit, just a very short-term hit, and we were supposed to be in and out. We want to bring our troops back home.
The U.S.-backed Syrian Kurds have lost thousands of soldiers in the fight just a year ago. President Trump saying that he would not forget their sacrifice.
With us, they died with us, but they're great people. And we have not forget. We don't forget. I don't forget.
But now, the president is abandoning them, essentially giving the green light to Turkey to clear the Kurds out of northern Syria. Trump making that decision after a call from Turkey's president, who considers the Kurds terrorist insurgents. Just weeks ago, Jasmine was on the front line with U.S. forces from Iran, not far from the Syrian border, with the fight against ISIS, which is still very much alive.
Alright, so put your pot in the stove, add your butter, make sure to stir, then add your marshmallows. Stir them as well, till they're at a thick consistency. Add your cereal, mix, add into a pan, let it cool, and then cut it into pieces and enjoy.
Many of Trump's supporters were not in favor of his decision, just like Governor Mike Huckabee. He tweeted the following: "I generally support POTUS on foreign policy and don't want our troops fighting other nations' wars, but a huge mistake to abandon the Kurds. They never asked us to do their fighting, just give them the tools to defend themselves. They have been faithful allies. We cannot abandon them." Marco Rubio was not in favor of this, and he took to Twitter to tweet, "If reports about U.S. retreat in Syria are accurate, the Trump administration has made a grave mistake that will have implications far beyond Syria." After receiving tremendous amount of backlash, President Trump took to Twitter at 3 a.m. in the morning the next day to state the following: "The United States was supposed to be in Syria for 30 days, and that was many years ago. We stayed and got deeper and deeper into battle with no end in sight. When I arrived in Washington, ISIS was running rampant in the area. We quickly defeated 100% of the ISIS caliphate." Immediately after, he tweeted, including capturing thousands of ISIS fighters, mostly from Europe. "But Europe did not want them back. They said, 'You keep them, USA.' I said, 'No, we did you a great favor, and now you want us to hold them in U.S. prisons at tremendous cost? They are yours for trial." President Trump quickly tweeted after, again said no, thinking as usual, the U.S. is always the sucker for NATO, on trade, on everything. The Kurds fought with us, but were paid massive amounts of money and equipment to do so. They have been fighting Turkey for decades. I held off this fight for almost 3 years. But it's time for us to get out of these ridiculous, endless wars, many of them tribal, and bring our soldiers home. We will fight where it is our benefit, and only fight to win. Turkey, Europe, Syria, Iran, Iraq, Russia, and Kurds will now have to.
Are you recording? Yeah? Okay. Hello, I'm Kimberly Soto, coming to you live from KTG News. We are currently at a local community college. We are going to gather the opinions of the public regarding President Donald Trump retracting U.S. troops from northern Syria. What is your opinion on President Donald Trump retracting U.S. troops from northern Syria?
So I feel like being in the United States, we often forget how war-torn countries are because we haven't hosted a war here on American soil in so many years, decades, centuries. So we're a little disconnected from it. So but it's beyond disconnection. So not only is he disconnected from it, but it's not only just two opposing forces fighting each other. There's families in the middle of it. There's children in the middle of it that essentially don't have anywhere to go, especially since he doesn't want them coming here. So now you've pulled troops to their only source of help for the people who only just want security and safety for their families, and it's, and you don't want them to come here. So you're taking something away, and you basically said figure it out.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Good.
They are, Jasmine. There's a great concern about those ISIS prisons. A senior official is telling me that there is a fear that some of those 11,000 prisoners could escape and flood the surrounding areas or target the West. There's also concern tonight about withdrawal. One senior official telling me about how there is an initial planning to withdraw all U.S. forces within 30 days.